Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear sister. The message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nanshi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I am a woman who is staying in a foreign country with my husband, and I am only aged 23 years old, and I joined these things of witchcraft when I was somewhere around 15 years old. But what confuses me is that I am not like a witch, but my mom, she is the one who uses me whenever she wants someone to be killed. She then comes and she uses me, because at the time when she initiated me into witchcraft, she told me that from that day going onwards, I was going to be more like her slave, and I had stopped being her daughter. And whenever this spirit of witchcraft comes to possess her, then it means that I am no longer her daughter, but I am like her slave. Because what I have seen over and what I have learned over the years is that when my mom is possessed by the spirit of witchcraft, you cannot control her and she cannot control herself. So when I tried to refuse one day, and then that spirit told me that it was going to get me killed, so I do not have any choice at all. This is how I got to find out that my mom is a witch. At that time, I always had these very funny dreams, because when I would wake up in my dream, I would see that in my spare bedroom, close, like really close to my bed, there'll be this man who will be naked. This man, he will be standing right next to the place where I'll be sleeping, and he will be playing with his manhood. And this man, I used to have a lot of dreams as I'll be sleeping with this man, and I saw that this was not normal for me to have this kind of dreams whereby I'll be having sexual intercourse with a man that I do not even know. I said, what am I supposed to do? Because as for my mom, she goes to this other Pentecostal church, and at our home it is not allowed to go and visit these prophets, because my mom does not want people to know that she is a witch. So she prefers to go to the Pentecostal church, because at that church where we grew up going to, there is no spirit. The spirit of the Lord is not in that church. So she is not even scared of going to that church, even though my mom is a witch. So she told us that in her house, no one is allowed to go and visit a prophet. And when I kept on having these dreams and always seeing this man standing in front of me naked, playing with his manhood, I then spoke with one of my friends. I was really confused. I didn't know what to do anymore at that time. I just needed someone to help me out, to tell me, to translate this dream to me, because I didn't even know the meaning of that terrible dream that I kept on having. So when I spoke with my friend, she said it was fine. She was going to speak with her own mother, and then her mom was going to tell her what was the meaning of the dream that I kept on having. So after she had gone and spoke with her mom, then she came back with the answer, and she said that her mom had told her that it was not normal for any person to have a dream, and in that dream you will be busy making love to a man. And her mom told me that this only meant that I had been dedicated to the spirit's husband. I was a spiritual wife, and I was supposed to come to their church. And I hesitated when she said that I was supposed to come to their church so that they can finish off the prayers, so that I can be given some prayers. Anyway, I then went. It was on this other particular Sunday. We woke up and we prepared to go to church. And at the last minute, I told my mom that I was not going to church. So she went to church. After she had left, that was when I rushed to my friend's place and we walked to their church. So she goes to the White Garment Prophet Church. We went there, but I was disappointed, because as the prophets started prophesying, then I saw that none of them ever looked at me, and no one ever even bothered to give me a prophecy. And I said, what am I going to do now? So when we were walking from that White Garment Church, that was when there was this other woman who approached me, and we had a little conversation, and she told me that the reason as to why she was in Harare, it was because of her big sister. So she was about to leave Harare in a couple of days and return back to the rural areas. She said, I want you to come to my big sister's house as soon as you can. So when I returned back home, I kept quiet. I never told my mom or anyone that this is what I had done. I then went to that woman's house, and I did not even tell my friend. When I went there, as she was busy praying for me, we were kneeling down. As she started praying for me, we were kneeling outside. Then I saw that there was this other whirlwind that started forming at the place where we were kneeling. She laughed at me, and she laughed at that whirlwind. I then asked her why was she laughing at me, and she told me that she had seen my mom, and she had been shown a vision, and in that vision she had been shown that my mom is a very powerful queen in the realm of the spirit, and she was scared to continue with the prayers because she said that my mom had showed her a vision, and in that vision she had seen herself as she was holding her baby, and the baby was dead. So she said, I do not want your mom to attack me spiritually because I cannot fight her, for she is very powerful. She is a queen. She's the queen of the witches. So she told me that she was only going to give me a stone that I was supposed to place underneath my tongue, and this stone was going to make my mom to confess to me that indeed she is a witch. So after she had given me that holy stone, I then placed it underneath my tongue. Then I walked back home, and she had given me an instruction, and she had said that along the way, even if it happens that I meet someone that I know very well, I was not supposed to greet that person. And when I had arrived home, the first person that I was supposed to talk to, it was my mom. When I arrived back home, my mom was not there. I quickly ran to my spare bedroom, and I locked myself up because I didn't want people to talk to me. And I then heard that my mom had came back. I went straight to the kitchen, and I spoke with her. She looked at me, and I saw that she was really shocked. And with the way that she was in shock as she was holding that knife, I thought that maybe she was going to attack me, because it was like I had scared her, as if she had seen something scary that was in me, as if she had seen something that was scary. And then my mom just smiled at me, and she continued doing what she was doing. I then went back to my spare bedroom feeling disappointed, but my mom then followed me, and she told me that she wanted to tell me a story. Later on in the evening, that was when she came back, my mom then said, you see, your grandmother was the one who was a very powerful witch, and amongst their daughters, she chose me. And I then spoke with my mom, and I asked her if she was also going to make me a witch, because I wanted to know, because of all the dreams that I kept on having. Mom then told me that the spirit that was given to her by her own mother, the spirit of witchcraft, that spirit, it is a male spirit, so it always wants a wife. So she had chosen me to become its wife, and I was not supposed to get married. But with time, I then begged my mom to release me, and the spirit allowed me. But then there was a man who was chosen to become my husband, who is my husband right now. So this man, he does not even know that his own mom and his sisters, they are witches as well, because the day that I went to stay with him, they celebrated. I mean, like my mother-in-law, she has some snakes and she has some owls, the birds of the night, and they sang throughout the night because they were really happy. Because me getting married to my husband, this thing, it happened in the spiritual realm first. It was my mom and my mother-in-law, both of them being witches. They had their small talk, and they negotiated, and they both agreed that I was the one who was supposed to get married to my husband. So my mother-in-law then gave me some charms charms and told me that I was supposed to prepare a meal for my husband and just place the charms in that meal so that he can never have any dreams, because when my husband sleeps, he sleeps as if he is a dead man. He does not dream, because we do not want him to dream. Otherwise, maybe his ancestors are going to show him that this is what happens in his life. His mom is a witch, as well as my mom being a witch as well. So this is how I got married. But before I had gotten married, I had two of my boyfriends, the ones that I had met in church. So the other one, he was fine. Then the other guy, he was too holy, always praying. He was a prayer warrior, and it always disturbed me, because when I was around her, then I would feel so dizzy, and I would feel that my blood pressure will be shooting through the roof. And I then spoke with my mom. I didn't understand what was going on. My mom then told me that this man, because he was a prayer warrior, and each and every time, since he always had his Bible in his car whenever we were together, when I would look at the Bible, then I would feel so dizzy and really hot inside, such that I would want to remove all of my clothes. Then my mom said that she was going to give me some charms. Since this guy, he had said that we were not supposed to make love to each other until we would have gotten married, my mom gave me some charms that I was supposed to use. I then went to his place. When he was busy preparing a meal for me, I then took that smelly oil that my mom had given me and I rubbed it on my face. When he came into the living room, he looked at me only once and he told me that he wanted to make love to me. So we went to the bedroom. When we went to the bedroom, he had his Bible on top of the drawer, and when I looked at that Bible as we were busy touching each other, I felt so dizzy again, such that I didn't feel like making love to him anymore. I quickly thought of just hiding this Bible like my mom had told me. So I then got up from the bed and I made him to lie on the bed, but on the edge of the bed, and I started to kiss and suck his manhood. And I then took the Bible when he had closed his eyes, and I just threw the Bible on the ground and I pretended as if it was a mistake. I kicked the Bible until it had gone underneath the cabinet. The moment that it had gone underneath the cabinet, that was when I felt much better, and we continued with what we were doing. So after that, I then dumped him, because I knew that because we had committed adultery, he was no longer holy. Then I got married. When I got married, I then came here to this foreign country where I am currently staying. So I had this other friend of mine. So this friend of mine then told me that she had her own brother who had been admitted in the hospital, and then I told her that I wanted to go with her. So when we went there, Brother Nashi, I then had a dream, and my mom told me that she wanted the flesh of that man. The man was supposed to die because my mom wanted to eat that man. My mom said that her spirit of witchcraft had been starving for a very long time. Now it needed blood, human blood. So the next day when we were supposed to go to visit that man, I then bought some bananas, because my mom had sent some charms from Zim coming to this country where I am. They just magically appeared. I went indoors, and when I went out again, I saw that there was this other wooden cup that was full of charms. My mom then gave me an instruction and told me that I was supposed to buy some bananas as well as some apples. So after I had bought the bananas and the apples, I then soaked the apples first into the water. I left them for a very long time, and I then removed them, and I then took the bananas that I had bought and I also soaked them just quickly into the water that was full of the charms, but I didn't soak them for a very long time. And I then called my friend and I told her that she was not supposed to buy any bananas or any apples for her brother, for I had already done so. We went there, and it was like a vision. I had a voice when we were in that hospital ward. So the voice told me that there was already the spirit of death that was going around in that hospital ward. But this spirit of death, it was not there to collect the soul of my friend's brother, but it was just waiting for the time, because there was one who was supposed to die who had been admitted in that hospital. So my mom then, through her witchcraft, She then spoke with that spirit of death and told the spirit of death that he was also supposed to collect the soul of my friend's brother who was admitted in that hospital. So when we went to that hospital, after we had given him the food, he took the bananas, and when he took the bananas and started eating them, I felt so sorry for him, because I knew that I had condemned him to death. He was not going to survive this, for the spirit of death was going to connect to him through the bananas that I had given him. He took them and he ate them, and he seemed to be enjoying. When we were leaving the hospital after the visitation hour, I wanted to cry because I knew the evil thing that I had done. When we returned back to the location, I then heard that my friend was crying. I rushed there and I pretended as if I was there to comfort her. I also cried when she told me that her brother had passed away, but little did she know that it was the spirit of my mother, her spirit of witchcraft, that had killed her brother. So this is what happens to me. I do not have any choice. Like I told you, my mom does not even control this spirit. When it possesses her, she does whatever the spirit wants, and I am like a slave. She chose me to become a slave. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our dear sister. So that was the translation of that message. Strange things do happen in this world. Just imagine, she was saying that in that hospital, when she went there, there was the spirit of death that was moving around. Hey, strange things do happen in this world.